expect out of Rabble Red.
Yeah, no more like Legion Loyalists, Rebel Belt Maka, any of that stuff. Instead, it is lower to the ground, if that's even possible, than Rabble Red was, but somehow finds a way, and it's just looking to close out the game with burn spells instead of pump spells.
All right, so the game is underway. Cole won the die roll. He's on the play with red, white, burn, and starts with a scry land. Now, typically in these like burn versus little aggro matchups, the aggro is the favorite, right?
Sort of. I mean, like burn generally has a pretty good matchup against these red decks, but we've kind of seen that due to the sheer power of the Rabble Red deck, like they can fight through some Searing Bloods and stuff like that, which would normally otherwise be pretty backbreaking.
Sure. Actually, both players with no creatures on the board yet for Todd. Our first play is a turn 2 Boros Charm by Cole. It's going to put Todd down to 16. And with no early pressure, it looks like actually right now as the game's playing out, it's looking like they're both playing burn decks.
Right, yeah. I mean, we're just lighting each other up. That's it.
With that, though, you have to think, was it Cole plays 3 copies of a card like War Leader's Helix. So there are life gain elements to Cole's deck that could be pretty good here.
Yeah, that's certainly true, but also his mana base is a little rough at times, too. You know, he might be taking extra points of damage early to play something like Sacred Foundry untapped or use Battlefield Forge.
Well, Todd tried to make a creature first. It was Chandra's Phoenix, but the Chandra's Phoenix went ahead and ate a shock out of Cole's hand, and the burn continued, whereas the lightning strike to Todd's face, and now Cole will respond with his own Phoenix. And 14-11, Cole is ahead in the race at the moment. So we see Todd's hand looks to be Magma Jet, more Lightning Strike, more Chandra's Phoenix.
Yeah, it just seems like losing the die roll, you know, it gave Cole the opportunity to start playing the burn spells first, get in that, like, the first actual hit with Phoenix, seeing as how he got to remove Todd's, and now it's going to be kind of tough for Todd to catch up after this, especially if Cole has something like a War Leader's Helix.
Yeah, 12-9 Cole's ahead, and I do think he does have a copy of Helix in his hand. And from Todd's side, that seems to be maybe one of the best cards that Cole can play in this matchup, just because of how good it is at racing here.
Yeah, almost certainly the best. It's like, it's exactly what you want to be doing. It is a burn spell to Todd's face, but also it kind of like counters 2 of Todd's spells.
Yeah, Todd swings in for 4 to bring Cole to 8. And you notice there, Cole, not even spending time War Leader's Helixing a creature. He's just going to go straight at Todd. He goes back up to 12. Todd will drop to 5.
Yeah, I mean, Todd has a Chandra's Phoenix in play, another one in the graveyard, and 2 Mutavaults. So I don't feel like Cole is going to gain much ground here by using the Helix on the creature. It's just time to race.
Yeah, Todd did leave back enough mana to Magma Jet or Lightning Strike Cole's Phoenix. It looks like Todd's being a little defensive here. So you see Magma Jet does hit Chandra's Phoenix.
Yeah, and I think he had to expect a burn spell coming from Cole that turn, seeing as how he left open 4 mana, didn't play a 5th land. So it is very much correct for Todd to feel like he needs to preserve his life total a little bit, just because like any 3 damage burn spell would kill him if he took that Phoenix hit.
Yeah, Todd kept both cards on top, though. He's got some game here. Stoke the Flames and Shock were on the top of the deck. And it looks like, despite the fact that he's got Todd down to 5, Cole maybe has run out of gas in the tank. His only play was Satyr Fire Dancer. With 2 cards left, we know one of them's a land. And it's possible that with these Mutavaults and Stoke, maybe Todd will be able to win this race. So we see Lightning Strike takes care of the creature. Todd looking like he's going to try to clear the way for some Mutavaults. But Cole, with a Searing Blood, goes ahead and bins the Fire Dancer. He's going to Searing Blood a Mutavault. So Todd will go to 2. Yeah. Cole goes down to 8. Can he draw a burn spell? And he does. Lightning Strike. We are on to game 2.
Yeah, very, very interesting matchup between these burn decks, because it's not interaction in the way that people might think of it normally, where you're just throwing burn spells at each other. You know, there's no like creature combat really. I mean, like Todd certainly has plenty of creatures in his deck. He just happened to not draw.
Yeah, well, that's the interesting part of the dynamic I saw that I was really interested by there is the choice between burning your opponent versus burning their Chandra's Phoenix. It looked like for the most part the players were. Well, we saw like early Chandra's Phoenixes get removed, but there got to a certain point where Cole just didn't kill Todd's Phoenixes anymore. Yeah, so there's like some decision there.
Yeah, I think using something like a Shock to kill the first Phoenix might be right.
Yeah, I mean, certainly it played out pretty well. Shock's a lower impact card. You know, you're only losing 2 damage as opposed to like Helixing a Phoenix would be something which I would think you wouldn't want to do.
Sure.
All right, moving to the sideboards. I'm going to start with Todd's deck. He actually plays a lot of the same cards that you see out of Cole's deck in his own. So cards like Searing Blood, Satyr Fire Dancer. Todd has access to these, but I'm not actually positive how good these sort of cards would be in the matchup.
Something like Satyr Fire Dancer, probably not very, because I don't think you can expect Cole to have too many creatures, but if you're using something like Searing Blood on a Chandra's Phoenix or on Cole's Satyr Fire Dancer, like that is certainly something that you want to do.
Yeah, Cole's main deck has 10 creatures. All of them have 2 or fewer toughness. So Searing Blood, I would think, would be live enough to play here.
Yeah, I mean, also he has 4 Mutavaults.
Okay, so 14 targets. That would be plenty, right? Other cards like Titan's Strength, Perforos, Eidolon of the Great Rebel. None of these seem particularly exciting for the matchup.
No, I don't think so either.
All right. On Cole's side,
we have 2 Goblin Rabblemaster, another copy of Searing Blood, 2 Chandra Pyromaster, 2 Harnessed by Force, 3 Banishing Light, 2 Chain of the Rocks, and 3 Eidolon of the Great Revel. And Eidolon certainly does not seem like what you want in this type of matchup.
Yeah, when both players have them in their board, it doesn't seem like you're getting much advantage out of that style of card.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how Cole sideboards, just because he didn't see much in the way of creatures out of Todd's deck. He saw like the same stuff that he had, basically, the Chandra's Phoenix, the Mutavaults. But I'm not sure if he knows that Todd has something like Rakdos Cackler in his deck. Like, how many Satyr Fire Dancers do you want? Do you want something like Chain to the Rocks?
Right. He might assume that he's just playing a mirror match here.
Right.
It certainly looks like it game 1. Now, he might be suspicious. He didn't see Todd play any white mana sources.
Yeah.
And that might be a heads up. Remember, Todd's deck has 4 Foundry Street Denizen, 4 Rakdos Cackler, 3 Fire Drinker Satyr. So has the potential to be a lot more aggressive.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it could just be one of those things where Cole's like, oh, well, maybe he just didn't draw any of his red-white dual lands, you know? Like, Cole has 8 mountains in his deck. It's very possible that Todd could have just drawn those 3 and some Mutavaults. And other than that, like, I don't think Todd really played anything that made it look suspicious.
So if you're Cole, you might see Cole board out his Satyr Fire Dancers, where in truth he would like to leave those in.
Yeah, almost certainly. I mean, it just seems like Cole might be thinking that he is playing a mirror match and might sideboard as such.
And we'll see whether or not he does do that. Cole's opening hand with a pair of lands, a slew of burn spells backed up by a Goblin Rabblemaster. Both players are going to decide to keep. This time, Todd is on the play. And see both players setting up. On Todd's side, once again, he's left without a 1-drop, which seems really uncharacteristic for his deck.
Yeah, I mean, something like Fire Drinker Satyr almost certainly has to come out in this matchup, but that still leaves him with 8 1-drops that you would want to play.
Absolutely. Young Pyromancer is the first play for Todd. This is another 4 of in his main. He's going to go ahead and eat a Searing Blood by Cole.
Yeah, we see that both players have kept in Searing Blood, which, you know, doesn't have a lot of targets, but I think there are enough things that you want to just make sure that the other person can't get any traction, you know, like kill their first couple threats and then start burning them out.
On a big turn of events here, Todd missed his 3rd land, so just had to pass the turn. Cole made a Chandra's Phoenix, which took a Searing Blood from Todd's hand. Remember, Cole does have a Goblin Rabblemaster, so that was the test spell. And we see Todd miss land 3 again. And here's the Rabblemaster. Todd's gonna get it before we go to combat. So right now it looks like Todd's treading water just fine. If he hits his 3rd land, maybe coming up here, he should be in an okay position.
Yeah, I mean, he's got plenty of action on 3. It's just whether or not he can get there. Thankfully for Todd, I think that Cole is now out of real threats. You know, now he just has the burn spells. So Todd's not really under a lot of pressure to interact, but he is under pressure to actually like get something going and try to kill Cole.
Yeah, Todd he draws Young Pyromancer, still misses his lands. It's the 4th miss, and Cole's just going to go ahead and start going for the face. He Boros Charms Todd, and we see a shock for the Pyromancer, 2 more damage off the Mutavault. Both players stuck on land a little bit. Looks like Cole has a lethal amount of burn in his hand if he ever finds the mana to cast it.
Yeah, and I mean, with Todd being stuck on lands, it certainly looks like Cole is going to have ample time to get there.
Yeah, plays another Rabblemaster. You look at Todd's hand, it looks like a 3 Chandra's Phoenixes, 2 Goblin Rabblmasters, just a whole bunch of 3 here.
Yeah, he's just waiting. You know, like that's all Todd has wanted this game is the 3rd land.
And what I like about Todd's play there, I'd want to point out, is that he had the opportunity to shock or lightning strike the Rabblemaster, and he actually chose to lightning strike it there. I'm assuming because he doesn't think he'll ever, once he hits land 3, that he'll ever have time to cast lightning strike.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you hit land 4, you get to play a 3 and a shock, and that's, you know, like a realistic expectation. But for him to get to 5 mana before he loses the game to Cole's burn spells is pretty unlikely.
Yeah, Todd finally does hit land 3. It's Chandra's Phoenix. It's going to swing in for 2, and Cole just goes to the face. Boros Charm drops Todd to 7. Cole draws the 4th land, and you see a Warleader's Helix in his hand. First, he's going to put Todd down to 5 with Mutavault. And it looks like he's setting up for lethal. And I don't believe Todd plays life gain.
No, it's tough to get the life gain out of the mono red deck, you know?
Yeah. There's no. We have no Dragon's Claws in this format.
You have the staffs.
Okay, we have the yeah. But that's just you, right? That's not your opponent.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen people like Adrian Sullivan play stuff like Wild Ricochet for these burn mirrors, you know, but Todd doesn't have any of that stuff in his list either.
That sounds really spicy.
It's something.
Todd hits land 4, and you can see he's going in the tank area. He's got to know that between this 2 mana and the untapped Cole probably has him dead.
Yeah. And now he's just thinking like, okay, I am probably dead, but if I'm not, you know, what can I do?
Yeah, he has drawn Titan Strength. It looks like he has brought those in this matchup. Maybe just because they're a pretty efficient burn spell at the end of the day, as long as your creatures survive.
It's that, and it can like do pretty nicely countering a Searing Blood.
Yeah, and it looks like Lightning Strike goes to the face. Todd's down to 2. This should be it. Ample spells here, and Cole with the Lightning Strike takes it down 2-0 over Todd Anderson.
Yeah, this might be one of those matches where at the end of it, Cole's just like, so what does your deck do? You know.